Hi everyone, welcome once again to the channel. Today, as you can see, I'm not on my usual location. I'm actually not alone as well. My friend Kiana is here with me. But I am just coming out of the press conference of Miss Manila, which took place just a few moments ago. We're still at the hotel that was hosting the event, and today is going to be pretty much just me sharing a few interviews that I had the opportunity to film with some of the contestants of this year's Miss Manila. This is a comeback for the pageant, and of course, as you guys know, it's a legacy pageant, has a lot of history, and I was really intrigued to see who the girls were, get to know their stories and their motivations to join Miss Manila. So I hope that you enjoy this episode. If you do, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, follow the channel, subscribe, and of course support the contestants as well on their social medias. I will see you on the next one and enjoy the interviews. Mwah. Welcome to the vlog, Miss Angela Okol. I'm so happy to be here with you. How are you doing?
I'm so happy to meet you finally in person, and I'm just so happy. Honestly, I went to into this event, and I was just like, I didn't know if I would do well, and it's my first time to win a special award, such as Darling of the Press. So it feels so surreal. I honestly feel like I'm dreaming because I was never really noticed in pageants before, especially given my height and all that. I'm usually one of the shortest candidates, and it's a big deal here in the Philippines when you're a short candidate and you get noticed. So it's kind of a form of representation.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to you because you won that award today in a very deserving way. So I want to ask you precisely about your experience, joining different national pageants here in the Philippines and trying to break stereotypes as well. So do you feel like sometimes there's like pressure on your shoulders because of that?
Yeah, I have to admit that the pressure kind of lessened as my experience grew.
Yeah.
But when I first joined, it was so hard because I was honestly that time when I first joined Miss Universe Philippines, I was the shortest candidate and one of the youngest.
The youngest.
One of the least experienced. It was my first pageant ever. My real first pageant was just a high school pageant.
Yeah.
And all we had to do was walk in a Filipiniana, so it was very different. And I felt very pressured because it was also the first time that somebody represented my province, Siargao, on the national stage. So
I remember it was kind of like a big deal as well.
It was a big deal, and it was very scary because I didn't know what to do. Like, I just applied because it was one of my dreams to, be in pageants, and I never really knew the gravity of it until I submitted that application, got it, and then all of these things they were asking me to take photos of this and that, and honestly, now it's just nice that I have really discovered myself and that I no longer need to follow this format or template, and I realize that I may not be the tallest candidate, but I don't have to be. I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not, and I don't have to push myself to fit other people's standards. I'm just here to enjoy, and like I mentioned earlier in the press presentation, just every day stand tall even though I'm not. There's pun intended in that. I just stand tall to represent a lot of the young girls out there who, like me, are very shy, but I got to go out of my shell.
Yeah.
It's not nice to know that a beauty queen has to be so tall and she has to wear a sash and a crown. You don't even need that. You just need to join the pageants and talk about what you believe in, because it's very superficial to just stand there and look pretty. We have to also offer something from inside.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Anila, I want to ask you more from, let's say, a human side, right? Let's put aside the beauty and the queens and all of that aside, right? So you also went through the experience last year, I think, where because of your height you were not considered for a pageant. I feel like most people will feel very discouraged because of that, and then they will give up on their dreams. However, you were able to fight through all of those things and join other pageants and let's say really prove your worth, right, to the world. So where did you find that energy, that motivation to keep going?
It was hard to find at first. I worked very hard. I submitted all the requirements, and I thought that everything was smooth sailing. But life, there are really setbacks in life. And almost every time, it's when you least expect it.
Yeah.
So I was very demotivated, but I took the time to really think and understand what I was feeling, because sometimes when we're sad, we like to find coping mechanisms that will allow us to forget what we're feeling.
Yeah.
But what I did that time was I really cried it out. And I felt sad, and I'm not ashamed of that, because when we work hard for something and we lose it just because of, physical attributes or simply not fitting into like a certain standard, we often feel like we can't be accepted.
Yeah.
But then I realized that there are other pageants out there are other opportunities, and it's not just about height. But let's say that you were rejected somewhere. It's
Yeah.
not really rejection, just redirection. If you didn't get accepted to this job or this school, you can always apply to others, and it's really not about where you are right now, but what you're doing with your life. So yeah.
I think also it gives you an edge because it gives you this very interesting story of resilience that you can also inspire so many girls through that, right? And especially, as you mentioned, height is a big deal in the Philippines. So many girls might have a similar dream to yours, but they feel like maybe I'm not good enough or they will not consider me. But here you are, proving them wrong and also winning awards.
Well, one thing I have to say,
Yeah.
I really don't know why height is such a big deal in the Philippines,
same.
because based on research, the average height of a Filipino is around 4'9" to 4'11", especially if you go to different provinces.
Yeah.
That's really the average height. So it's quite unrealistic to expect girls out there to look a certain way, especially here in the Philippines, we kind of lean more to Caucasian or European features, when in fact Native Filipinas, even if right now we've been colonized for so many years, nobody's really a pure Filipina, but we are such a diverse country, and everybody looks different. Honestly, even in pageants, every single candidate, if you look at Miss International, Miss Universe, the candidates look different. That's because we have diverse culture here. So I think it's not right to really push a certain standard or a certain look or prototype for beauty queens, because even for regular girls out there, it's just too much pressure.
Yeah, for sure. What is your hope with this platform of Miss Manila? And why Miss Manila? I mean, all of the pageants that there are in the Philippines, why this one in particular?
It really interested me because I was looking through their website, and I actually applied last minute, but not because it was like a hasty decision.
Yeah.
I was looking through it for a long time, and I've been hearing about Miss Manila since the days of my mom and even my grandparents, because as they mentioned earlier in the press presentation, there's a certain history behind Miss Manila.
Yeah.
Like Manila Carnival Queen, that's the first pageant in the Philippines. And when you before, if you were a Manila Carnival Queen, you were a woman of elegance, a woman of worth. But I want to redefine what worth means, because in the olden days, worth was like, oh, I'm a very reserved woman, I'm elegant in such a way that I don't really speak much, I listen. But now, in the modern times, a modern woman of worth, especially in Manila, is somebody who knows how to speak her mind, and it doesn't have to be in English, it just has to mean that she's confident and that she's not afraid to speak up on causes for the greater good, even if it could, affect her.
Yeah,
In the
for sure.
media and all that, with social media, a woman of worth really has to speak wise.
Absolutely.
And joining Miss Manila, I think I could do that because I got disqualified, and I went through so much battling joining Miss Universe Philippines from top 100. A lot of the bets that other provinces had were cut off, and they honestly didn't think I deserved it. So joining this pageant after so many others, it made me realize that I don't really have anything to lose. I just have more opportunities to take.
That's it. Well, one thing is for sure. You might not be the tallest woman in the room, but you are definitely one of the most beautiful, most intelligent, and as well full of substance and purpose. So wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, so here we have our lovely Miss.
Puerza Santa Mesa. Or should I have said my name first?
Both, it doesn't matter.
Nicole, Piccio, 26, representing Puerza Santa Mesa.
It's such a pleasure to talk to you. And you were actually just telling us a little bit about your history in pageantry. So I'm sure that people are very happy to see you come back, right?
Thank you so much. Yes, I've been receiving a lot of really heartwarming and encouraging messages, especially from the pageant fans that I've had when I first joined a pageant ever in my life, and it was a national, which was Miss Philippines Earth,
Yeah.
and I got to bag the ecotourism crown back in 2019. But before that, I used to be so different. I used to be this girl who was highly focused on her academics and then her job afterwards. Afterwards, I was always hunched back, and I never fixed my hair. And then all of a sudden, I was discovered by Tito Rogel Flores of KF, and he was literally the one who turned me into the beauty queen that I am today when I never even thought of myself beautiful before.
Oh wow. Well, he did a great job. I mean, look at you, stunning.
For sure. I'm eternally grateful.
Of course. May I ask you, so coming back to pageantry after a few years taking a break, what has been the most challenging part for you?
Well, we were just speaking about it a couple of minutes ago. My feet are in extreme pain right now from having to like rehearse and stand in heels for possibly 5 hours now. And so that's something that I need to get used to again, especially that, you know, the coronation night is just a couple of weeks away.
Yeah.
So I need to wear heels every single day again,
Of course.
just to train myself again.
Of course. One last question for you. So here in Manila, pageants are everywhere. You know, you can find so many different pageants. So why Miss Manila specifically to have your comeback? I mean, it's a comeback for the pageant and for you as well. So why Miss Manila?
Well, I actually talked about it in the press con earlier, and if you were gonna look into my socials, I have made a hashtag called #Karen the Manila Girl. First things first, I was raised in Puerza, Santa Mesa. It's literally our family home where I grew up in since I was about a year old. And then I studied in Manila all my life. First was La Consolacion College, Manila for elementary. And then since my family had to undergo a financial crisis, I had no choice but to transfer to a public science high school, which happens to be the pilot science high school of the country, Manila Science High School, which now I'm very extremely proud of. And then eventually I became a scholar in De La Salle University, Manila, where I took up international studies. After that, I proceeded to law. So as you can tell, I'm a very academics girl.
Yeah.
I always have been. And I mentioned during the press con earlier when I was asked a question of what my motivation is for joining. Weeks away into graduating from De La Salle University, Manila, I actually experienced being sexually assaulted in broad daylight right across my school. And from then on, again, like it's just kind of a repeat of what I said earlier. I've always questioned myself. Well, the theme for Miss Manila right now is Woman of Worth. And since that experience, I've always asked time and time again what my worth as a woman is. And having to bounce back from that traumatic, awful experience, I had to find a way to cope. The best thing that I've ever done was to enter this NGO called International Justice Mission that partners with the local governments such as PNP and NBI. So what we used to do before, and I was in law school during this time, we would raid and rescue hotels, brothels, bars, KTVs to pull out these minor victims as young as even a 2-year-old baby from these places of exploitation, move them to shelters, whether it's DSWD run or private shelters, and then we would prosecute their cases in court. And that's where my background in law became relevant. And so now I feel like, you know, the reason why I actually had to stop that lifestyle of being in law school while working in an NGO was because I reached a burnout. I was getting vicarious trauma, and I was traumatized myself, like even before. So I had to stop it for my mental health. And then that's when Tito Rogel actually discovered me and found me and pushed me to join a pageant. And I said yes to it because pageants have always been a great platform to amplify our advocacies. And so I feel like the time is right now. Like it's just, I'm in such a good mental place and I feel a calling. It's a very loud calling that I cannot look away from. You know, the pandemic already hit, and the reason why, despite people having encouraged me to join another national pageant, I couldn't say yes because I wanted to protect my parents who are seniors now. And my mom is also asthmatic, so I couldn't just, you know, join during the pandemic. But now that things have become more normalized, Miss Manila is up, I thought why not grab the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, we're wishing you the absolute best. You have the beauty, you have the brains, the substance, everything. So just go for
I'm
it.
sorry I get too talkative sometimes. But these are just my passions.
I mean, it's all very, very pertinent. So it's good. It's good to hear.
So
Of course, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
I see you online.
Ay, talaga ako. Good luck, ha?
Oo, laban.
All right, so we are here now with Miss Baseco. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing really great. I'm very happy that the press presentation is already done and we can eat now.
Yes. How do you prepare for the press presentation? Because it's so important. I mean, that's how literally the media is introduced to you. So how do
Yeah.
you prepare for it mentally?
How do I prepare?
Yeah.
I prepare by knowing where I am coming from and by like knowing who I am.
Yeah.
Because that is the secret of being true to yourself, being authentic. Because that's what the press wants, the authentic self of the girl, of a true Manilanya.
Absolutely. I would like to ask you, of course, joining a pageant takes a lot of time, effort, investment, right? So, what are your hopes for this platform? Let's say if you were crowned as the next Miss Manila, what would you do with this platform to make it worth?
Okay. Miss Manila is such a big platform for me because I am from Baseco, which is quoted as the poorest of the poor. And my advocacy is for the children, as other girls do. I am an advocate of malnutrition because
Yeah.
there's a lot of children in my community who are struggling in malnutrition, and I am a witness of that struggle. So if I would win with the cash prize, with the platform, with the cash prize, of course, I would share it in my community because there is a lot of children who need support in their education, and I believe that sharing is caring. We are all queens here, and there's a lot of opportunity that will open for us. And
Absolutely.
because of Miss Manila, it opened my eyes of how pageantry is really doing in the Philippines.
Absolutely. I actually think it's very interesting what you say about the children because that's something that, especially from the outside, right? I don't come from the Philippines or Manila, so we don't hear about it as much. When we come to Manila, we hear it's a fun city, it's vibrant, history and stuff, but there's also a different side to it, right? So how could we perhaps use our platforms to portray the reality of it as well, the good and the bad, and find ways to address the things that need our concern and our help?
Of course, as beauty queens, we have the platform and the influence to others, and I think that we can address this kind of issues by telling the story of the place or the children themselves. I think that sharing their story will open the minds of people of how they struggle and how they really fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
And I think that is a great way to ask or get support for them, like sponsorships.
Yeah.
I've been working with Sangguniang Kabataan in my community, which is a youth organization that really helps the youth. And I think that because of pageants, I was really connected with them because I won Mutya ng Baseco. Mutya, like Binibining Miss
Yeah.
Universe in the international, but in my community it's Mutya ng Baseco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. So, last thing that I'm gonna ask you, okay? What will be your message for the people? How can they support you on your journey? And also, how can they help you amplify your advocacy and your platform?
Okay. Hi everyone, I am Theresa Villamor from Baseco, Manila, and I would like to thank all of you for your support, and I would like to ask also for your support for the children in my community because they really need you. They really need us. It is time to give out, give your blessings because these children has their future, and we should help them achieve their dreams because, as we always say, the children is the hope of this nation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so up next we have the lovely Ana de Mesa. So nice to see you again.
Nice to see you as well.
So I'm really happy to see you making a comeback to pageantry with the comeback of Miss Manila.
Yes.
What can you tell me about this experience so far? How has it been for you?
So far, it has been very, very fun, and every day I'm really just learning from my sisters and also from the organization because we also have master classes for pasarela. And though I joined 2 different national pageants from the previous years, I'm a bit rusty when it comes to pasarela already. So
I'm really thankful for this really, really wonderful experience. And of course, it is the comeback of Miss Manila.
Of course.
So it is like an inaugural year for them again. So I'm very excited. I'm sure you guys will also enjoy the rest of our activities.
Absolutely. Anna, one thing that I like about you is that, first of all, you are loved by pageant fans. Okay, you have like a strong supporting fan base, but at the same time, you have experienced different pageant systems in the country.
Yes.
So, what do you think? Why did you decide to go for Miss Manila in particular, based on the previous experiences that you already had?
Well, actually, that is my question earlier in the
talaga?
press presentation. Yeah. So I'm kind of just going to repeat my answer earlier. Ever since I was in college, I was already, asked by my makeup artist to join Miss Manila because I studied in the University of Santo Tomas, which was located in España, Manila.
Oh.
So they were asking me to join Miss Manila, but during that time, I was only 16 years old.
Okay.
So I was very young. I was second year college, and my parents didn't really support me that time yet because, of course, they wanted me to focus more on my studies, to become a certified public accountant. And then when I became a CPA, and after graduating, I became a CPA, the pandemic started naman. So Miss Manila didn't push through during that year. So that time, I felt like I wanted to join pageant already. But the nearest pageant during that time was Miss World Philippines.
Yeah.
And that's why I joined Miss World Philippines. That was my first ever pageant. And for me, what really sets apart Miss Manila from the two other previous pageants that I've joined is that Miss Manila really tries to show not just Manileños, but the whole Metro Manila, the whole Philippines, what the true woman of worth is. And for me, a woman of worth is someone who knows her worth, because you can't really share to other people their worth or to empower them to know their worth if you yourself do not know what your worth is.
Exactly.
And it's very important to know your worth as a person, because when you know your worth, you know what your value is in the society. You know that you're relevant in the society, and it is very important that each one of us know that we are all relevant in the society.
Absolutely. Oh, you're so good. Oh my God. I'm in awe now. Let me ask you, I've been in the Philippines for almost 6 months now. So I got to experience the Philippines, not just the Philippines, but Manila, the warmth of Manileños, the kindness of people. So that's just some of the things that come to mind from my experience. But how would you describe yourself, your fellow Manileños?
Well, for me, I would first describe Manila. Manila for me is the perfect balance of history and modernization. And something that really amazes me as a person is when someone knows how to empower yourself for the future, but at the same time never forgets her roots.
Yeah.
Because of course we have our goals, and during these times we are in the modern times already. There has been so many changes already in our society, but then sometimes it's also very important, and it is also very refreshing to step back, go back to our history, go back to where we came from, our core.
Absolutely.
And I think that is what Manileños stand for. They know what the future holds. They are very, very excited and invested and inspired to what the future holds. But at the same time, they never forget their history.
Yeah.
And whenever I see and whenever go to Manila and to the different parts of Manila, if you've been to Intramuros,
Yes, I've been.
it is such an historic place. And also, even my school, University of Santo Tomas, it is one of the oldest universities here in the Philippines. And for me, that is the heart of Manila. It's history.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Based on my experience so far, I just had a blast discovering the culture, the people, the food. Oh my God. I'm supposed to be on a diet, and it's been hard.
It's hard. It's
so
difficult, especially here in the Philippines.
Yeah. So, last question for you, Anna. Being a seasoned queen in terms of pageantry, especially, as I said earlier, experiencing different pageant systems, if you had the opportunity to be the next Miss Manila, how would you use that platform for something bigger?
Well, when you're Miss Manila, for me, it is not just the 1 million prize that they are always championing.
Yeah.
For me, it is, like what I always say, it is showing what a true woman of worth is. Manila is not that, for me, it is not that their call for, like, for example, if you're a candidate in Binibini and you're
Yeah.
Miss Manila, their call is not yet that soundy.
Yes.
Unlike for other provinces like
Yeah.
Cebu, Pampanga, and the like. But then, for me, I would love to bring Manila to a wider platform, a
Yeah.
bigger platform. And hopefully, if given the chance to become Miss Manila, I would be able to do that.
Well, I'm rooting for you all the way. All the best. I'll see you there during finals, and I know that you can do this, you got this. So just
Thank
keep
you
going.
So much.
Of course. Well, hello. Please, could you kindly introduce yourself?
So hello everyone, I am Charmaine Salazar. I'm 23 years old and I'm representing Padre Faura.
Amazing. Can you tell me how has your experience been so far joining Miss Manila?
Actually, it was really fun and it's been a roller coaster of emotions. Sometimes it's really tiring from all the master class, but it's really fun and I've learned a lot. And I think it's really helpful not only here in the pageant, but I can use it for a future pageant that I'll be joining.
Okay, very nice. So, is this your first pageant, or do you have already some previous experience?
Actually, this is my third time joining.
Wow.
My first one was back in college, and actually I don't really want to join pageant. And the organizer saw me and he was like, "You should join," and I give it a go, and here I am right
Here
now.
you are. So, from the perspective of someone that in the beginning you were not interested in joining a pageant to now having all of this experience, how has your perception of pageants changed?
Actually, before I see pageants, just wearing beautiful dresses, presenting yourself. But as time progresses, and as now a beauty queen and a person joining pageants, I realized that it's not just that, but it is more than that. We have different advocacies. We are a beauty with a purpose, and we are using pageantry as a platform to be a voice of change.
Yeah, amazing.
Thank you.
What is your hope, let's say, with the Miss Manila platform? So if you were to be crowned as Miss Manila, what would you do with this crown?
Actually, if I will win Miss Manila 2023, as I said earlier, I am also a public servant. So I do volunteer work in our community, and if I win Miss Manila 2023, I can expand, or I can do more outside my community, and also to the city. As an advocate of mental health awareness and children's welfare, I think that we should be more open to people who are experiencing mental health illness, and we should give importance to children, especially that they're the future of our generation.
Of course. If you could find a way to inspire a newer generation to get involved as well and to give back to the communities, how would you do that?
Actually, when I'm doing my volunteer work, there are a lot of children who are seeing me and saying, "Ate, I want to be like you." And it's really inspiring that they look up into me. And I always tell them that if you want to be like me, you just not just present yourself well, but also you have to educate yourself. Go to school, do well, finish your studies. And if you finish your study, you can do more. And if you want to join pageant, then it's to give it a go.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
so much.
Nice to meet you.
Thank
you. I
you.
appreciate you. Hello, we are here with the lovely Miss.
Hi everyone, so my name is Rethy Rosa and I am representing Maceda Sampaloc for Miss Manila.
Thank you so much for your time. I actually have a few questions for you, 2-3 questions. I won't take too much of your time. You mentioned earlier that this is your first national pageant. So can you tell me so far, how has the experience been for you?
So, fun fact, my very first pageant was held last May 6th. So, as you all know, I'm very new to this industry, and joining Miss Manila is something that I was at first very nervous about, but as soon as I was in the middle of the journey, I realized that it is actually a very good experience for me. I was able to learn a lot and at the same time experience what it's really like to be in a major pageant, one of the biggest pageant here in the Philippines, and at the same time one of the oldest. So aside from learning a lot of lessons throughout the pageantry, I was also able to have a little bit of bonding with my sisters in Miss Manila, and at the same time learn from one of the best makeup artists and one of the best passerella trainer and everything that goes beyond it.
Definitely, it's a growth experience, right?
Yes, definitely.
What would you say has been one of the biggest challenges that you had to face preparing for Miss Manila?
Well, I have to say that one of the biggest challenges that I have to face in joining Miss Manila is that I'm independent. So, as you all may not know, I am a working student. I study during the morning, and during the night, I work as an advertising executive. So, with that hectic schedule of mine already, joining Miss Manila is something that totally mess my schedule. So, but at the same time, it's always about our passion and our determination towards how we manage our time, towards the things that we are most passionate about. And so it was really one of the biggest challenges for me on how to manage my time and at the same time make sure that I do not get anything of my priorities disregarded. Like, I joined Miss Manila, but at the same time I make sure I'm still first honored Dean's Lister and at the same time a very competitive employee.
I love that. You have your priorities straight, and that's amazing. What do you think? I mean, nowadays, sometimes people question the relevance of pageants. So, if you encounter someone who is not so keen on pageantry, what would you tell them, and how would you explain what a pageant is and how it helps young women?
Oh, here's the thing. To some people, pageantry is just about pretty girls showcasing their beauty and talent or their passerella and how they perform on stage, or it could be about the prizes that they get once they win. But to me, pageant is actually more than that. It is actually a very empowered platform that do not only empower us women, but it is also a place wherein we can be just ourselves and at the same time serve for a bigger cause. As you all may not know, a lot of pageants nowadays are actually very supportive towards the girls' advocacies, and for me, that is something that is very purposeful about pageantry. So it's not just about the beauty, it's about what's in your heart and your passion to serve.
Amazing. Well, you're incredible. We'll be rooting for you during finals. So, all the best. What is your final message to the people watching you?
So thank you so much to everyone who's watching me. I hope you will continue to support me, and I hope that you all will have a great day and a great year ahead of you.
Thank you so much. You're so good at this.